The Secrets of Irresistible Charm with The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. This renowned book provides real-life examples of magnetic seducers from history, alongside techniques to increase your own appeal. A 35-episode video series illustrates the different archetypes, including Episode 2 on the Rake, that alluring yet unvirtuous figure who rebelliously pursues desires without shame. Though morally questionable, the Rake exudes an irresistible magnetism that captivates even the most virtuous. Let's be honest, we've all had that moment where we became drawn by someone who pushed every button of pure physical attraction despite, or because of, their obvious disregard for being good or following rules. As much as we like to claim our romantic wants are guided by being smart and thoughtful, there's an undeniable pull to the dangerously charming figure who seems to exist solely in pursuit of their own cravings. I'm talking about the famous Rake, that charismatic yet immoral rascal whose only purpose is amorous conquest. If you've felt this tug, you're going down a well-traveled path. For as long as there have been societal rules to be broken, the Rake has exerted a timeless, almost mythic appeal by seducing with a potent mix of unfettered carnality, calculated disrepute, and tantalizing disregard for consequence. While proper behavior would declare such reckless libertines repellent, we'd be lying if we claimed there wasn't an intoxicating allure to one who seemed to promise uninhibited indulgence for its own sake. Let's start by examining the Rake's most basic seductive tactic, his lack of restraint and surrender to unvarnished, animalistic desire. Whereas so many are bound by social rules and reserve, the Rake goes beyond filter by openly displaying his obsessive, unquenchable thirst to his target, making them the sole fixation of his overpowering hunger. When seduced by the Rake, you're not just being pursued, you're the only recipient of unbridled lust barely restraining itself, the epicenter of an impassioned inferno. There's an undeniable ego boost in realizing you've inspired that level of manic ardor, being idealized into an aphrodisiac itself. Where the suitor promises love and commitment, the Rake instead offers something perhaps more powerful: full surrender to your erotic control with hardly a thought of consequence. His burning destiny as that dame mentality is both absurd and irresistible. Take the real-life example of the 18th century French seducer the Duke of Richelieu as the archetype. He'd readily burrow through walls, climb hazardous heights, and willingly provoke the violence of outraged husbands, all while displaying utter enslavement to his compulsion to possess his current obsession. Such brazen Herculean deeds designed solely to facilitate desire couldn't help but work like magic on the objects of his attentions. After all, what woman could resist that level of devotion, however temporarily insane? Of course, surrender to a Rake isn't simply about the promise of being idolized by a madman. There's also the undeniable thrill of indulging the repressed anti-structural recesses of the feminine psyche, where good girls embrace the darker shades of their own sexuality. Just as the Rake embodies a freedom from socialized virtue, yielding to his seduction offers a glimpse into a purely erotic plane of existence divorced from morality or rules. For every pious queen, there's a queen keen to vicariously experience the freedom of ravishment. The Rake proffers this fantasy, but in an indulgent, if twisted, homage to female desire. He stands as an icon of unleashed masculine sexuality, too powerful for proper ladies to resist. Look no further than the original rock star Rake Lord Byron, whose unrepentant incest and domestic abuse somehow only enhanced his alluring mystique among the corseted set. His flagrant disdain for propriety allowed women of means to momentarily sample profane sensuality before dutifully returning to virtue. But the Rake's most lasting spell comes from his ability to cultivate enduring infamy and iconic renown as an seemingly irresistible stud, ensuring his conquests carry an almost enviable clout. By performing his reputation through stringing together an endless chain of salacious anecdotes about daring bedroom deeds, the Rake turns seduction into a status symbol. To fall for him is to join an elite society of those who tasted the wild, lie overconfident, side. Again, Richelieu offers the quintessential case study, ensuring his tunneling through walls to access bedrooms or learning exotic languages just to seduce more fluently became subjects of hushed awe throughout aristocratic circles. By advertising the outrageous ends he'd attained conquest through, the Duke cultivated a seductive mystique women openly competed for a chance to briefly indulge in. So while rationally, we may scoff at the immorality and egomania of the Rake, to deny their seductive power would be lying to ourselves. At their core, these defiantly debauched anti-heroes offer a tantalizing double fantasy, the promise of being desired with such unshakable intensity as to deify one as an erotic icon themselves, while offering a window into the liberation of anti-structural hedonism society demands we suppress. They appeal to our most primal IDS by performing the spectacle of unconstrained, hypersexualized masculinity that upends the rational and leaves decorum disheveled. We may tisk them ultimately, but that transcendent thrill of illicit surrender remains too powerful to resist for many. So revel in your sordid little dalliances, dear confidant. You're only indulging an itch as old as civilization itself, by falling for the irrepressible charisma of the Rake. Just be sure to keep your wits about you, for as legendary as their seductive prowess may be, you know deep down they're inevitably destined to break your heart in that deliciously wicked way we claim to despise, even as we're helplessly magneted by it once more. Now, something important. Make it a daily habit to acquire valuable knowledge. Remember, what you consume mentally fuels your mind. Be deliberate about it. Otherwise, the algorithms are crafted to manipulate your thinking. Reflect on that. Also, we're now welcoming contributions through subscriptions to back our forthcoming projects and provide you with exceptional content. Join us by subscribing today.